Hey everyone, it's Jason, and these are my top 3 cruise news stories of this past week. And the last story, this cruise line already raised prices on something that was extremely popular this week, and they hinted at another increase that will affect every single passenger that cruises with them, and it will be extremely unpopular. So cruise story number 1, and this is a wild one because this is the P&O Pacific Explorer, and they were involved in another rescue. This is the second rescue in a matter of weeks. So this rescue was of Tom Robinson. Now the background on Tom Robinson is he was trying to become the youngest person ever to rowboat across the Pacific. And it was a custom built, he built it, 24-foot rowboat. And it actually had a cabin underneath. And the thing about it was he ran into some rough seas. Cabin door was left open. It swamped it and it overturned his boat. Now the interesting thing is this is what saved his life. If you can see it in the picture, is this EPIRB. So it was going off. It alerted people back in Australia, and they actually reached out to a French it's a French Navy airplane was flying around. They saw him on top of his rowboat waving. They actually reached out to the P&O Pacific Explorer that diverted to like 150 miles out of their way to save his life. If he did not have that EPIRB, he would have never probably been found. So wild story there. And the second time in a matter of weeks that the P&O Pacific Explorer has rescued someone. So cruise story number 2, and Norwegian made a huge announcement this week. They announced that they're adding 1,000 solo cabins to their existing fleet of 19 ships. Also, they're going to have 3 new categories, a single, an ocean view, and a balcony cabin on Solo. So it'll be really interesting to see. They said these are going to start being available starting January 2024, and they would go on sale this week. So really interesting. Norwegian has always been cutting edge in that solo industry, and they continue to invest in that. We're looking forward to hearing from you guys if you've booked one of those cabins and what you think of them. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like this video as it does help the channel grow. Also consider subscribing as I do daily cruise news shorts and tips and tricks. I also do longer videos on Saturdays and Sundays at 8 a.m. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and there's actually 2 things from Carnival Corporation. So number 1 from Carnival themselves is they announced that they're raising the price of their cheer beverage package from $59.95 to $69.95. I believe that's a 17% increase per day on cruises under 6 days. If you have a cruise that's 6 days or longer, it will still be the $59.95 per day. And this goes into effect starting December 1st, 2023. So the second piece of this is when Carnival Corporation announced their earnings, they spoke about a fuel surcharge. And while a lot of people didn't pay attention to this because they basically said it's not off the table, but it's not something we're looking to implement immediately unless. And that's a little scary because unless happens a lot of time. Overnight, things can change like that. So be interesting to watch that because here's the part that a lot of people don't understand. In their language, in their cruise documents, every one of us that has a cruise booked with any Carnival Corporation cruise line says that they can raise their price or charge a fuel surcharge of $9 per day per person if oil prices are above $70 a barrel. Well, they're $83 a barrel. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. And that is one of the key elements that is actually hurting a lot of these cruise lines right now is the rise in oil prices, and that's hurting their profits. Will they pass that along to their consumer? We've seen them start to do this. When the inflation, they start to keep passing things off to the consumer. Will this be the next thing? It'll be interesting to find out. So I'd love to know what you guys think about that. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I do appreciate the support. And until I talk to you next week, happy cruising.